Hello, welcome to your week 3 screencasts for EG 1002. This screencast in particular is going to revise some of the arrays that are vectors and matrices that you would have been covered last week in those screencasts. It's important to realize that vectors and matrices are very important to programming and problem solving, as we'll see in the coming screencasts. So it's important that you understand everything that's going on here. So to start with, I might do a 3x4 matrix. So I'm going to call this matrix A, and I'm going to fill it with these contents. I don't really care what the contents look like. I'm just going to go ahead and put in some numbers. Now, you might notice here that I'm actually using spaces instead of commas, like Nathan did last week. It actually doesn't make a difference, it'll still work. So that's cool. Now, just to revise, we can pick specific bits of data out of our matrix. So for instance, if I wanted the second column from my matrix A, what I could do is just ask MATLAB. I'd say, I'm interested in the variable A. In particular, I want all of the rows, so that's why I use a colon. I want all of the rows from column 2. And there we have it. If I wanted, say, the first 2 rows of column 2, I would just need to do that. So the colon on its own gives you everything. But if you want a range, you need to specify a start and end point. There's more on that later. So that's how you select a column. What if I wanted to do something like a transpose? By the way, guys, if you wanted to repeat a command that you've done previously, you can use the up key. So that was the last command I typed. The next last command I typed was this. If I wanted to do a transpose, I can use a single quote like so. What is a transpose? It turns a row into a column and a column into a row. So it's just been flipped on its side. Sweet. So now let's say I want to add these 3 elements to another 3 elements. Maybe this one here. So if I wanted to do that, I could take what I previously just typed, add it to A. Now these elements here are within row 2 and are the second column, third column, fourth column. So I want second row, second column to fourth column. There we have it. Sweet. So what else can we do here? You would have seen from last week there was some stuff with the max command, maybe the min command, whatever takes your fancy. So as you expect, max is going to pick somewhat of the biggest element that you feed it. We're going to feed it the variable A. What do we get? Well, actually, it's taken the maximum element from each column. Okay, so in this column you can see 9 is the biggest, 10 is biggest, so on and so forth. So max does that. I find this a little bit annoying, actually. I think I'd prefer it if it just picked the biggest element that I fed it. So I want the one biggest number there. How do I do that? I could wrap max in another max. So the max function doesn't just concern itself with columns. When it's dealing with the matrix that it's been input, it will deal in columns. But then if you feed it a row vector, like one of these, it's going to pick the biggest element out of it. So max of A gave us this result, and then the max of this will give us 12. Sweet. So now I want to take you through a for loop that we might have done before, just to make sure everyone is understanding where we're at. So let's do something like for I is equal 1 to 5. Now, this is my script, my editor. I've actually got it docked here, so don't be frightened by that. If you wanted to do something similar, you could just use these buttons here. Okay, so I've got for I equals 1 to 5. I might do something like disp. So remember that disp is short for display, and disp is what we use to print variables and whatever else we want to the command window over here. Okay, so I want to disp I equals. Now let me get back to you on this, but for now I want to display that, and now I actually want to display the variable I. Okay, so I go to run this. I want to call this test.m, very tastefully named function, script, so I'll save that, it'll run, and this is my output. Notice that the formatting is a little bit different to what we have before. There's actually a gap here, there's no gap here, okay? You can customize this as you please, but this is the desired effect for now, okay? So what's actually happening here is, for the first iteration in the for loop, I is going to be equal to 1. When it falls down into the for loop, it's going to execute this line of code. What does that do? It just displays this. Cool. Next line of code, it'll display the value for I, okay? Notice I is not in quotation. We actually want the variable I. So because I equals 1 in the first run, 1 is printed. Hit the end, but because it's a for loop, we want to do this more than once, so now I has been incremented to 2. We get I equals 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool, okay. Now, let's say I want to do something a little bit different, and I just want to demonstrate that this variable here is not useless. You can use it for problem solving, and you don't need to do other things around it. You can actually incorporate this into your code, so it's quite important. So let's say I want to do 2 times I equals. Now I'll just clear this with CLC. If I run this, do you think that this variable here is going to be reflected 2 times? Like the first time through it's going to be 1. Do you think it's going to display 2 in the first time through? Well, it won't, because it's displaying the value for I. This is a string. It's completely different to the numeric value we have for I. What I mean by a string is it's a specific data type, and it is in no way related to our variable I up here. So this is just going to display what we tell it to within quotation, and I is still going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I wanted to, I could put 2 times in here, and that would actually be more correct.